We're going to apply the waving lotion. 1, 2. To perform a test curl, you take your perm rod, you undo it, and you just gently unwind it a little bit and look for the S-shaped pattern. It kind of looks like the hair ropes in on itself. When you see that and it's firm, you are ready to rinse and then neutralize after you towel blot. This needs some more processing. Alright, so now I'm going to check for the test curl. It's been the full processing time of 25 minutes for resistant hair because this is a Manaquin. I'm just going to take the rod and push. And as you can see, it's kind of hard to see, but there is roping. So this is definitely ready to process. On the larger rods, it's hard to tell, but if you see a nice wave, then it's definitely time to rinse. And this is a Thio-free perm, so it uses cysteine. So it really reduces the risk of over-processing, but it does not mean that it is damage-free. It is not. It can still damage the hair like any other perm can because it's breaking the bonds. It still smells really bad, but not as bad as a cold wave. So now we have to rinse this hair for 5 whole minutes. Not 2, not 3, not 1, not 4 minutes and 50 seconds, but 5 whole minutes. Because this is a Manaquin, I don't want to be spraying the water everywhere. I'm going to be using a regular color bottle with water and just kind of rinsing the rods for 5 minutes. So I'll give you an example of what that's going to be like. Just going to fill it up. Put the cap on. and just back and forth rinse it. You could also do this too if you had a bowl to catch it. If you had like an older client and you don't want her to like lean back because she has back pain, that works just as well. But you're just gonna rinse just like that. And I'm gonna go set the timer and I'll be back when it's time to neutralize. All right, so I finished rinsing. I rinsed for 8 minutes. Actually a little bit more than that. But the way you check for a perm to make sure it's all out is you actually do a smell test. So you'll go up and you'll smell it, and if you still smell the perm, rinse more until you don't smell anything at all. But usually it's about 5 to 8 minutes. More than 5 minutes is, I recommend, better, because if you get all that waving lotion out, then your neutralization will be that much better and you get a better result. The next step is to towel blot. I'm not gonna waste any of my professional perming towels because this is a Manaquin. So I just use a paper towel, and you take the rod and you just kind of squeeze it gently and you'll see all the moisture come out. And you keep doing that until you have no moisture left in the hair. At this point too, you can even let the hair air dry a little bit. You want to get the hair as dry as possible because the more dry it is, the better the neutralizer will penetrate and neutralize the hair. At this point, the hair is broken down and you need the oxygen from the hydrogen peroxide to rebond the hair back together, and this will hold the wave or the curl. If you took the rods out, all you'd have is mushy, dry, damaged hair. And the neutralizer is just going to restore the pH back to an acidic pH, and at that point you would neutralize. You have 2 options. You could neutralize on the rods about 5 minutes, or according to the directions, which is 5 minutes for this perm. You would take out the rods, squirt some more neutralizer, and rinse for 5 minutes, or you can actually put the neutralizer on and rinse on the rod, and that helps hair that is very fine, or like Asian hair or really fine gray hair. That helps it last longer if you rinse on the rods versus neutralizing, taking the rods out, and then rinsing. So that's an option for you too. So I'm gonna go towel blot this, and then I'm gonna come back just to show you the neutralizer. It works the same as the perm. You just kind of go right to left twice every rod, and then do it once more. Get all the neutralizer on there. And if you're doing the method where you're rinsing without the rods, you leave about 1/4 of it left just to kind of squirt through and scrunch in. So I'll be back for that. Alright, now that I towel blotted, ready to neutralize, and this is with the hydrogen peroxide. The neutralizer in some perms is scented, and this one is decently scented, and that will take away all the remaining smell in the hair, because sometimes the perm still has a lingering smell no matter what you do. But the chemical is still the chemical, so all you do is you take it and you just slide left to right once, and then underneath. Make sure to really saturate the rod above it and underneath it. And when you're neutralizing, unlike a perm, which you normally start in the back and then work your way up, you can start anywhere. I usually start in the top. That way, as the neutralizer drips, it drips down on the rod underneath it, and you get a better neutralization. So I'm gonna go finish neutralizing, and I'll be back when I take out the rods. So I chose to rinse on the rods because it's Manaquin and I know how to work with the Manaquins. This is I believe it's a Deluxe Deborah. Yep, it's a Deluxe Deborah, and they tend to not hold the big perms really well, so I found that if you rinse on the rods, it comes out just as well. It actually comes out better because it holds the curl. If you're using a smaller rod, you can just take the smaller rod out and then rinse. The curl relaxes a little bit. Human hair is different. Manaquin hair is a total different world on its own. But anyhow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by taking out the rods. I start from the lowest, just kind of unwind it, take the end paper, toss it aside, and at the end I rinse the rods just to get any of the chemical out of it. Any of the Thio, or not Thio, but any of the waving lotion left over on the rods could wear down the rubber band and snap it, or kind of wear away at the flexi rod. So how you take down a flexi rod is pretty simple. I'm going to start in the lowest one. You just kind of unbend it, and then you just start to move it like that, and discard the paper like so. So I'm going to go and work on the big ones right here, which are rubber bands. You just unfasten the rod like so. Let me just move the Manaquin over here. Fasten the rod like so, and then that. The flexi rod produces a pretty even curl, and because these are straight rods, they do the same thing, but they add some different curl and wave to it. So it has a combination of both, and I like the look that it gives the hair. It has like a natural wave to it. It doesn't really look like one of those horrible, ugly, frizzy perms that our moms or our grandmas get, or our moms got in the 80s. And that's what I like about the technology, is now you have perms that are less damaging and the result of the chemical is nicer, instead of the frizzy, overly kinky, curly look. And you can even use bond protectors in the hair. I personally don't, because it makes perming a little bit more complicated, but I can do a video on using a bond protector perm in the future if you guys want. At that point, you can just massage the scalp and let the curls kind of form on their own. And I'll be back in a second. So this perm from Zotos, their EFX, has a leave-in fortifying splash, which I think is pretty nice because some perms have a pre-wrap. Well, this is kind of like an after perm. You would pour this in the hair, squirt it just like so, and it adds some of the protein back into the hair. It makes the condition of it feel that much better. So I thought that was pretty cool. And it smells really nice. It has like a watermelon-like smell. Kind of smells like, when I was a kid, like the L'Oreal shampoo they have. You just squirt that through and scrunch it up. And this even helps it neutralize better. At this point, when the perm is dry, you can put a little bit of mousse in it, nothing too heavy, and then let it air dry or blow dry it carefully. You do not want to shampoo the hair for at least 3 days. Definitely not 1 day, because if you shampoo the next day or you shampoo right after a perm, it's going to take all that perm right out and ruin it by rearranging the bonds. So don't ever shampoo a perm right after you do it. So this is the finished result of the perm after it was neutralized properly and I just air dried it. I put the fortifying protein splash in there, which some perms have. The perm from Zotos Texture Effects do, and it is extremely soft and silky. It is doesn't feel dry, damaged. It's not breaking. It's not stretchy or anything. It looks really nice and natural. It looks like she went to the beach and came back and had her hair like this. So this is one way to get the beach waves. There's many ways. The way that I used was to use a mixture of the flexi rods and the big rollers. It was the size 1 1/8 inch rods, straight rods, and they were 6 in a pack, and they were the color black. And it looks phenomenal. Great texture, great feeling. It feels healthy. It looks good. It doesn't look fried. This is the proper way to do a perm. You want to make sure that you take into account the client's hair color, the treatments they had done. This perm, I don't want to say that it shuts itself off, but the cysteine perms tend to reduce the risk of overprocessing because it's based with an amino acid instead of thio. So while it is not damage-free, it reduces the risk of damage a lot and gives you nice natural results. And I think it looks nice. So let me know what you guys think down below. Post your comments on this perm, whether you tried it. And I want to definitely do this on a live model someday, so I'll see what I can do. So like, comment, subscribe. I'll be on with more videos. And if you have questions, just ask me right down below.